Hi everyone. Good again, to come here and discuss football, discuss Liverpool Football Club. Whether you agree with our comments, whether you don't agree, your comments will be mentioned. I've got great guests. I've just seen K back here. He's on with us. I've got Liverpool 12th man as well. He's on with us. I don't know who that is, DM Jasmine. No, it's Daryl anyway. I've got him on, which is great. I've got the Vars on and JK Kismet. And I'm going to bring them all on right now. And I'm going straight first to a fella who's having a cup of tea, none other than K-Mac. Hey, you're okay?
How you doing, mate?
Oh, it's good. It's really good. And I'm going to bring this new fella on now. 12th man, Liverpool 12th man, and there he is.
Big
Here I am.
You're okay?
Yes, I'm okay.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Good to see you on here. And also Daryl, and there he is.
Hey, boys.
And the fella who always causes trouble, the sleek Carlyle fella, the vase of flowers, and there he is. Hi, Lee.
Hi, everyone.
Hey,
Throat there. Hi, everyone.
Big panel tonight, boys. Big panel. And JK Kismet, and there he is.
How you doing, guys? I hope you're all well.
JK.
Yeah.
I've seen you on my feed a few times, mate. Big up. Never spoke to you.
Oh, there's plenty of time.
He's always on. He's a good fella. They're all good on the channel, every one of them. And there's Daryl with his earphones in, and there's no noise. Oh, brilliant! It's brilliant. No noise coming from you there.
I got a new laptop, new headset, all for the show.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Don't have your telly on though.
It's not on, Frankie, mate.
And I'm only joking. I'm going to ask, I just want to go through these, just won't be a minute. Paul Turner, even and Frank, hope you're okay. Thank you, Paul. Yes. Shane McGowan, evening, he said. That's evening all. Ian McHale and Arthur Schofield. Even, what's that? That must be evening on a predictive text. It must be Russian or something. Anyway, I'm going to go with the first question or the first comment, if I might. And I want to, I'll go to K-Mac, straight to him. You know, I read a comment today that it's not going to be, the next manager. They're not going to have emotion involved in it, right? Because as we know, we get a hell of a lot of, I think the majority of Liverpool supporters want Xabi Alonso, and yet they're coming out saying we're only going to go, not on emotion, but data. What's your take on that, Jake? Sorry, K-Mac.
I mean, if they're going to go with data, then it's really only going to be one guy in it. But that guy's probably going to end up going to Chelsea before we even get him, which is De Zerbi. If you're looking at data, that guy's got Liverpool written all over him data-wise. Like, what he's done with Sal Suso and obviously what he's done with Brighton, he could really, really work the Moneyball system, which is what FSG want. And FSG have come out now recently and they're really happy with the fact that the Premier League are changing the rules for the sustainability. So, he's the guy that fits their model. But I do think he'll probably end up going to Chelsea because everyone from Brighton who seems to go to Chelsea at the moment, I'll also take the manager as well, the second one.
Well, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Feed the club.
But what's happening to the, like this FFP, it's this fair play thing, and nothing's happening to Manchester City at all. But then again, you're getting our supporters saying we won't spend money simply because we don't want to get into the rut of, the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Man City, the likes of everybody else, that's involved. What's your take on that, K-Mac, before I go to the others?
I mean, the Man City thing, personally, I don't think people understand actually what's gone on there, because I watched a piece on The Athletic and it was unbelievable. It was like an hour-long podcast, and they had a financial guy kind of explain it all, like where it went wrong, why they didn't get charged in the first place, why there's an investigation going on now, and also the ramifications of if they're found not guilty or they're found guilty. Like, I don't think people understand. If they're found guilty, that is literally the Premier League charging United Arab Emirates royal family of match fixing, cheating, basically breaking all kinds of financial rules and laws. That's basically what they'd be doing, because it goes that high. Because you couldn't do all the things that they broke, what they're accusing them of, if the people from the top of the companies, and some of them are Fortune 500 companies, know what's going on. Then you got all the CEOs, then you got the royal family that kind of owns the club. So everybody is involved, like top to bottom. And if they're found not guilty, what's going to happen to the Premier League and UEFA? Because they're the ones that accuse them. So they're the ones that are going to end up looking really bad, and then there's going to be ramifications for them. Because the United Emirates royal family aren't gonna stand by and just let that fly. And the fact is, there's so much like tension with the Middle East at the moment. Do you really need to be pissing people off in those countries who are high powered? So, it's like,
and we've got the best
is it really
lawyers.
happening? Is it really happening, or is it not happening? And the whole thing as well, I'll finish now, is the whole thing as well about the statute of limitation. That's the reason why it failed with UEFA, because they pushed it, they kicked the can down the road so long that the time ran out. But with the Premier League, they can go all the way back to Pellegrini.
Oh, yeah.
And if it started at Pellegrini, it didn't finish. It hasn't finished at Pep. It's gone all the way through, like start to finish. So they can literally just go through every single thing. For me, I don't think anything will happen, because I just don't think they want to take it that far. But if their evidence is there, then someone's got to be found guilty.
It couldn't be any uglier or more tawdry, could it? Or more obvious, but nothing's going to happen. I think we all know that. It's bad, isn't it? But that's the way it is.
You should watch the podcast by The Athletic. It's really good.
Okay,
if you want to learn about it.
I'm going to go. We've got to learn about it. We have to learn about it, K-Mac. We have to, because if you don't understand anything, it's like anything else besides football. It's like anything else. If you don't understand what's going on, you shouldn't comment. It's as simple as that.
Personally, I don't think they want you to know, because then you'll question things. Like, nobody really wants you to know stuff now, do they? Because you'd end up going down a rabbit hole. Yeah. And if you start looking into it, you'd end up going down a bloody rabbit hole, trust me.
Yeah,
it is quite amusing when you look, the way they try to explain it away, and somebody, it's just like a mishmash of things, isn't it? Like that they keep putting up with. Farrago is a nice word. A Farrago of unfathomable.
I'll put the link in the private chat now to the podcast. Okay.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, we'll have a look at that ourselves and
move on from that nonsense. Move on to proper football.
We're not going to win any Premier League's office, so what's the point?
I'm going to go to our guest here, first time on, and it's the 12th man. The 12th man. I always thought he was a scouser from Liverpool, in the pub, the 12th man. But apparently, here he is. And I want to ask him, because we've all said this, through a different podcast. Who would you like to see as the next manager?
Wow. Okay. First off, thank you for having me on. Honor and a privilege. Thank you very much. And I like to think of myself as an honorary Scouser. You know, I have Scouser love in my heart. So beyond that, very good question. I don't know who I foresee being the next manager, only because there's not many elite managers on the level of what we have, and considering that one of the other elites, being Pep Guardiola, is going to be remaining, we're going to need a manager that's going to be able to compete with that type of level of a manager, obviously, you know, to make the most of it. So is that manager out there? I don't believe so. I just believe that what we're going to have to look for is the manager that best fits the system, best fits, or the organization that we have with FSG is able to work with them, and also the best manager that is going to be able to work with the parameters of what FSG sets up, being like the way that we spend money, the way that we go about contract extensions, the way that we go about the process of everything else that goes with making a club work. That's the biggest question. So I don't really have an outright favorite, because I would love for Klopp to say, you know what, I changed my mind at the end of the year and I'm going to stay. This has been too much fun. And I'm going to stay for an extra year. I found that revitalization of energy that I've been looking for, and I'll stay. But, you know, Sir Alex did it, so why can't Klopp? That's how I see it. So
we don't mention Sir Alex on this program.
Okay, I'll make sure not to say. That was my one.
We call him Whiskey Nose as well.
Whiskey Nose. Okay.
Oh, really? I don't know how to check then. Anyway, I'm going to go to Darryl. You know, about the data rather than emotion. What did you think of that statement that came out in the Liverpool Echo?
What's that about Man City?
No, it's about Liverpool.
I never said it, Frank.
They told him, he's come out and said it's not going to be an emotional bringing in a manager. It's not going to be based on emotion. So that looks at Xabi Alonso. In my opinion, it's going to be based on data. Now, this fella's coming out. I've been reading about him, and he's coming out as though he's this, look at me, I'm going to do well. Now, this man, no disrespect here to our 12th man there, he's American. And, he was in other sports as well. And I think that you needed someone who knows about football, who's been in football for a long, long time. And in my opinion, before we get a new manager, I think we should have a director of football in place long before, by the way. So, Darryl, based on emotion or based on data, what's your take on that?
To be honest, Frank, I think we need a manager who's got passion, who's got a heart, who wants to win for the club, fight for the badge. Someone who actually knows inside and out of the club. I don't think they don't want to employ someone. Well, the names that I'm seeing on the list just ain't good enough, apart from Xabi Alonso and maybe, I don't know, maybe Nagelsmann. I'm not sure. Then they're the only two that's striking me out at the moment, and no one else.
Okay.
He's saying that he's going to Chelsea, Ardy. Is that what they're saying now? He's definitely going to Chelsea or something to replace Posh. Is that what it is?
I've never heard it. I don't know. K-Mac knows most stuff, but
you can't
rule
anything out with Chelsea because they're just going to throw money at it.
Yeah.
So who have you got? You got a couple of mercenary managers. De Zerbi, I think, is pretty much a mercenary manager, if I'm honest. Mm-hmm. Like, if Man United or Chelsea came knocking for him, he'd go. Well,
Pochettino has been there a long time now for a Chelsea manager, hasn't he?
Exactly.
Well, I'll stay with you here, Kim.
Do you want to hear a crazy stat about Poch, by the way?
Go
on. Frank Lampard has got a better record than him at Chelsea.
Wow.
And we thought Frank Lampard was absolutely horrendous, didn't we?
Didn't know that. Didn't know that at all.
The plot thickens.
I'm going to stay with you here, Matt.
Oh, wait, Frank.
Sorry, what was you saying, 12th man?
I was just gonna say, as the I guess the American consistency here, I guess I had to stand up for the red, white, and blue here, I guess a little bit. I will say this though, I know that in the Premier League history of this club, we've obviously had American owners before this set of American owners, at least. Okay, the set before this wasn't exactly something to write home about. If anything, it was a disgrace as to what they did and how they administered the club.
Please don't say their name. They're like Voldemort.
I won't say their name either. I won't say their name either. But what I was just wanted to get at is that as much as the disdain for the American owners is prevalent amongst some portions of the fan base, I can say this is that we've seen the best results from this particular ownership group, from this particular ownership group being involved with the club. We've seen finally a Prem. We've seen another Champions League. We're on the stages of possibly adding to the League Cup record that we have of titles. These things are part of the analytics that this club and the administration that holds the club down is utilizing. And I know that sometimes as eye test merchants and everything else, sometimes we don't want to bring in those new policies or new practices, but it has resulted in some glory for our club, and I think that has to be acknowledged and recognized.
Nobody's criticising that, to be honest, 12th man. No one's criticising, but what they do criticise is that they turned us into a sell-to-buy club without a shadow of a doubt. Also, whereas we could have won more if they would have invested more on the pitch.
Right, but I'm just saying that I think that if we had gone the process of what we've seen other clubs do, we might be in that FFP, profit sustainability, in the dark ages of Premier League, possibilities. And that's why I'm making that point, is that their guidance has at least averted us from being in the likes of an Everton, the likes of a Manchester City, the likes of a Nottingham Forest, the likes of a Chelsea. All these different concepts of what they've done. They played by the rules for what I've seen so far, and the rules take doing what they did to establish that. That's all I'm trying to get across.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You won't be coming on again, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Already starting off strong. I know.
I'm only joking, honestly. I really am. Redbird today. Now, this happened to me today. This Redbird says, "Frankie boy, I saw what Norman, this person who comes on now and again, wrote in Jamie's chat to you. Boy, that Arsenal result really did his head in, I guess. Still, that's no excuse to have a go at you. I'm with you, Frank, 100%. It's only." To be honest, when he came out, it was only what K-Mac said last week when he said this Bobby Clark's going to be great because his dad was great, So that was it, tongue in cheek, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And
I was right about Gravenberch though.
Oh
you
yeah,
need some humble pie there.
So was I, and this is what came out today, because this other lad came out and said, about Gravenberch and Gapco being Pep Linders as buys. And I said, yeah, you're right. And he got back to me, this Russell lad, and he said, I've seen Klopp saying with his own mouth, it was Pep's choice for those two players. Anyway, he had to go. He said, you're talking rubbish, you.
I've got some stats on them as well, by the way. I've done some numbers on them as well. I'll talk about them later if you want.
No, talk about them now.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure we want to? Are you sure we want to get dirty straight away?
Yeah, come on,
Right enough.
Jeez. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll tell you what I will do though. I'll give you this stat on referees. Okay. This is incredible. All right. I learnt this today. So Klopp's lost 81 games in his tenure at Liverpool. Yeah. 40 of those games, guess what ref the match?
Not
Taylor.
that,
Anthony Taylor.
Taylor,
Yeah.
40 games, 70% ratio of losing games with Taylor as the ref. And this season, we've had Taylor 4 times, 3 draws, 1 loss.
And there you
Just
go.
saying.
No, I think that's awful. That stat is absolutely dreadful. And I'm going straight to Lee Carlson. What did you think of that stat there, Lee?
Yeah, I've hated Taylor ever since he's been a ref. Like, we've never had no joy out of Taylor ever. And that's a fact. Everyone knows that. Like, he's crap ref, and he was crap the other day.
The crazy thing is as well, out of those 81 games, 74 of them we've lost against baldy referees.
Yeah. Baldy refs are a curse, yeah. Yeah. We got it in for us, the balls refs, haven't they?
Maybe I should ref then.
What about you, JK?
When you look at the whole season, all in all, VAR and referees have put a stone in our way every game. And so it's just against Man City and VAR and referees. And you've seen the stat K-Mac just said. It's a bit of a coincidence.
As well. Sorry.
Say again, Lee.
Said Pep Guardiola's bald, so is Eric Ten Hag. Baldness is associated with like bad things a lot of the time. Mind you, Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't bald, was he?
No,
he had hair.
No. But what I want to ask you, I'm going to JK, and this really annoyed me today about the no emotions going to be involved in bringing a manager in, only data. What's your take on that?
I see it like this. In the old days, when Paisley, Shankly, they didn't have no data analysts working for them. And it's like this. It's like if someone sets you up on a blind date and they're like, oh, the girl's 6'1", she's got blonde hair, blue eyes, and you're thinking, wow, she's going to be like Princess Diana. When you get there, she's not really good looking. So they gave you the data, but the result is actually totally different. And I think that's a bit like with football. I think if you look at a guy who can play football and you think, yeah, I like the look of him, but his data is not so high, but you think, you know what, I like the look of him, and you go with him, and he actually improves his game. So I think that whole data and eye valuing a player is 2 sort of things, but I always go with my eye first, then I go with data. But everyone's different.
Well, I it's not so much emotion with me, to be honest, but I'm going to go to K-Mac here because I think we speak on the same page here, because I'd like Xabi Alonso here, because Xabi, if you look at him now, if anything goes on data and it's this season, Xabi will walk it. Not Zerbi, because look at his last results for Brighton. Not so good, are they? Really, they're not so good. Anyway, getting back. Xabi Alonso has taken Bayer Leverkusen from 4th in the doldrums, really bad, and he's got them top of the league, and they play Bayern Munich this week, by the way. And if they beat them, you know, I don't think there'll be any stopping them. What's your take on that, JK? I'm sorry, K-Mac.
I mean, Xabi Alonso hasn't lost a game in management so far. I mean, he took them from relegation last season up to top, and they've been there ever since. To be fair, he took them like I think it was 7 or 8 games before the end of the season, and he actually nearly crept into the Champions League. I think he came 6th, so he ended up in the Europa League, and they're probably going to be our main competitors for the Europa League final. I can't see any other team, to be fair.
Crazy stat.
I mean, it's just stat. I know. I mean, it's going to be funny that, isn't it? Like if he beats Klopp in the final and then he's our manager.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the only manager that might get celebrated. Winning against us.
I think they're playing Klopp, though. You know, I think they're game so he'd be manager. You know.
I mean, he might go, just let us win that one. Like, the fans will thank you for it in the long run. But the data thing with Zabi, I just don't think there's enough data. Like that's the only issue. Like the way we work as a data analyst with Liverpool is the sweet spot is between 21 and 23. You need to have played more than 150 games. You need to have had less than 2 injuries in your career. There's all kinds of criteria that you need to hit. And you also don't need to be a dickhead. Like, we're really good at not signing dickheads. That's like one of our criteria. Gravenberch, debatable, but the guy's kind of threw away his Dutch career because he wanted to move into his house. Like, who knows? But yeah, I mean, the data on Xavi, I just don't think we've got enough. But for me,
I go along with that.
Heart, for heart, I want him like.
But do you think emotion and the fans, have a say? Do you really think? I do, to be honest.
It's weird as well, though, because he was only at the club for 4 years.
Yes.
I mean, it felt like he'd been at the club all his life, and he came from our youth team. Like, he comes back and plays like the Legends game. Like, he wasn't a legend.
No.
You know what I mean?
It's
a mad one.
Oh, come
it's
on.
a mad one. He's really took. He's really took the fans. Like, he's just one of those players. So, I mean, a guy that's like studied under Pep, which is like Klopp's nemesis and kryptonite in the same time, and Mourinho and Ancelotti. Like, Mourinho's Klopp's nemesis as well, and so is Ancelotti. Like, they're all managers that have done Klopp a few times.
Yeah.
Like, and know how to. So, why not get the man that can?
Well, look at the way I look at it, though, K-Mac, is this. Arteta, never been a manager in his life, and he went from under the wing of Marino straight down to Pep. Was it Marino or Pep? Pep, wasn't it? Pep Guardiola. And he goes straight down to Arsenal, and he's done wonders for them because they were in the doldrums, and he'd never been a manager.
I think he was a coach at Everton, wasn't he? Was he a coach at Everton?
No.
Arteta?
No.
He must have been a coach.
He was a player.
He wasn't a coach, never a coach. And then straight down there. So, for me, I think that Xabi Alonso, and the fans would give him a chance as well because he's that much respected. When he was a Real Madrid player, he used to come to Anfield and look at games. That's what he used to do. Even when he went to Bayern.
Coach at Everton came Arteta. He was getting his coaching stuff together at Everton because his playing career was winding up, and he was starting to get his ideas together then when his playing career was winding up. Not like officially, but like it was like sort of happening, wasn't it?
Behind the scenes sort of thing, yeah.
Well, talking about that, Ian McHale says Jürgen's current fitness coach at Liverpool, Andreas Kornmeier, worked with Xabi Alonso at Bayern Munich around 2014. So there's another link. That's what he says. Albert Buffalo. Hi, people. Hi, Albert.
Albert.
Hi, Albert.
Is that Uncle Elvis? Is that the lad?
Yeah. K-Mac knows him well.
Yeah, you've got a couple of people. You've got a couple of people coming over from my feed because I've shared it, so you'll see them on here as well.
Thank you.
Well, it's your thing. It gives you the option to do it, which is great, mate. So hopefully they'll subscribe. I think they will. Everyone who's here off my feed, subscribe. There you go.
Thank you. Honestly, I do really appreciate that because I think I lost Norman or Anne, whatever it was. I think he's unsubscribed after today.
Yeah, that was probably because of me.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's what I say. Paul Turner. I've seen Chelsea are rumoured to be interested in Alonso. Every time we show interest in a player or manager, Chelsea are doing the same, and I go along with that. I go along with everything there, to be honest. Let's get a couple of things in so we can. Let's see.
That Todd Bowley taking over's really knocked Chelsea, knocked them all over the place, hasn't it?
Yeah. And that's why, for me, the manager needs to buy the players. You know, the main guy. Does Pochettino want to play with all these guys? I don't think so. You know,
I think that's a good comment there, JK, because does he want to play with these? Does he bring them in? And he's got a loads of players there. And obviously, he doesn't. I'd give Pochettino a chance, you know. I really would, because, you know, he was great for Spurs.
Yeah, and I always thought he was a good coach.
Of course. And after that, they sacked him for some reason. I don't know. It's up to Spurs who they sack and who they bring in or whatever they do. I'm not interested in them. But, you know, I thought he was very good for them. And anyway, you know, what do you think of this, boys? Anyone can jump in at this. Richard Hutchinson, we need a proper number 6 and a left-sided centre-back in the summer of 2024. What do you think? Anyone?
Yeah, that's what we need. And probably a replacement for Mo, because, like, if Klopp's going and if Mo doesn't stay for the last year of his contract, then the money from selling Mo could replace him and buy them 2 players as well.
Would you like to see Mo go, though?
Not really, but if he does, then his departure will pay for them 2 players and his replacements. And we're not a club that can just go out and go bang and buy players. We need to sell to buy generally, as a rule.
Well, we're a sell to buy club. That's what I said. We're a sell to buy club.
That's how we were successful.
Sell your best players.
That's the only way we were successful. We were only able to beat Pep to the Premier League by selling Coutinho.
Yeah.
And I think the Salah one is too good to turn away. I think if you're getting offered 100 million or 150 for Salah at that age, and after he's been here for such a long time, business-wise, no-brainer. And I think the only guy who I want to replace Salah would be Neto from Wolves. Fast, gets assists, quality. That's the only guy I want.
Okay. Well, I'm going
to. The guy's like a bag of quavers. Not for me.
He is. That's the thing.
Injury prone. It's unbelievable. He's injured every fart's end, isn't he, the guy?
Yeah.
He goes down like about 3 times in every game, and you're like, ooh.
Yeah. I'm going to go to before I go on to Uncle Albert and 2 comments he's made, because I think they really need to be discussed. I'll go to the lads, the 12th man on this, then K-Mac, then Zell, Vase of Flowers, or Lee Carlson as he's known, and J.K. Kismet. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to go to the stats man here, first and foremost, because he'll know. I'm worried about Szoboszlai and his injuries. He picks up little injuries. Is he another injury-prone player, do you reckon? K-Mac.
Are you going to me on this one? Go to 12th man. Go on. I'm putting your link in my chat. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No problem. Okay, so I'm going to go to Uncle Albert.
Spoke for ages. He hasn't spoke for ages.
No, I'm going to go to
questions. Dodging the tough ones.
I'm going to read out these 2 comments by Uncle Albert. Okay. One is send those 2 back wherever they came from. That's Gravenberch and Gakpo. And here's what he says here. Klopp's exit will do one thing if at all. Trent can't tell the new manager where he wants to play. And that's over to you, 12th man.
So, as opposed to the Szoboszlai question, I'll answer that. I don't think that the Bacilli has really had a long history of injuries or anything like that. I don't think necessarily that I'm not. It is a concern, certainly a concern, that the fact that he had a couple of games off, he should have been able to, really just slot back in. It was obviously diagnosed, so that's obviously something of a concern to say that if one game back is already amounted him to be possibly out for even longer of a stretch. I'm hearing like 7-8 games or something like that. That's concerning. As far as some of the questions about who we should bring in, who should be leaving and such, and I think the biggest thing about that is what you mentioned earlier, which is we need a director of football, or sporting director, whatever you want to reference as the title. And then we also need to find out who is going to be that manager so that sporting director can properly put the placement of players that manager is going to utilize. There's no point in going after a DM, quote unquote, as everyone is seeing, thinking that we're going to be playing the same system as Klopp is playing currently. If we end up going with, for instance, Xavi Alonso's lineup or way that he goes about it, that means that we're looking at 3 backs, a 3-back system with 2 wing backs. That's a completely different system than we play right now. So it doesn't necessarily correlate to, we need this player, we need that player. We just necessarily have to figure out, one, in my personal opinion, getting those 2025 signatures re-signed, being either Mo Salah, VVD, Trent, as being the most notable on the list of players that we have to get re-signed or should look to get re-signed. And then moving forward, I don't know necessarily if any of us have a real grasp on what it is that we're going to be playing next year, like as in what formation we're going to be playing. That's going to really be the final determinant on what players do we need. Because right now, I personally think that our team is on the cusp of having such a dynamic collection of players on it that we could possibly compete again for the title next year with this club. So, there's not really that many
this year. Okay.
that many mixtures that we have to fix out.
Who we start? We started as JK.
What's that, bro?
Would anyone agree with what the 12th man said there, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can I touch on that? Can I touch on that? Because you kind of just hit a nerve with me, and it's kind of, it's grinding my gears now, to be fair. What I don't get is Klopp came out and said he approached FSG and told them he was leaving in November. Why the fuck didn't we get a director of football in?
Exactly. That was my
why
argument.
have we still got this idiot who's partying in Ibiza?
Yeah.
I don't understand this. We should have had a director of football in right away, or at least targeted him so we get him now, and then he can then bring in the manager and spend 6 months working on getting the manager. I don't for me, everybody out and everybody new in is a little bit risky. It is literally a little bit risky unless you're going to take every single bit of management out of one club, which I think is a bit harsh. So if we're literally going to gut the whole of Bayer Leverkusen, for example, and take all of their coaching staff, their manager, and their director of football, then okay, yeah. But that, I don't think we're going to do that. But then that means that who is picking the manager, because it's not our director of football, because we haven't got one. And I'm not asking. I don't want George Smack to pick him. He's going to end up picking his brother. Who's at Wolfsburg.
Exactly. And the others, Mickey M says Leverkusen and Stuttgart.
I'll tell you what, Stuttgart's manager is data as well, by the way.
Yeah.
Stuttgart's manager is definitely a manager to look out for in the next couple of years, because
he's turned
them into a relegation battling side, into a top 5, 6 side now.
What about this Amarin? What about this Amarin came up? What about him?
He's a really good manager at Sporting. he's probably going to win the league this season as well. I think he's won 2 titles, so he's got cups behind him, and he's been in the Champions League quite a few times. I mean, he knocked Arsenal out, didn't he, last year? So that's got to be a plus.
Yeah, that's. What about you, JK? What about this Amaran fella?
Don't know too much about the guy, but what it is with a lot of the managers we're looking at, they're on the verge of winning league titles. So you have to take your pick, you know. I think what a lot of people don't understand about the Liverpool manager's job is he's got to have a personality. And I think whoever we pick, he has to have a personality. I don't want him to be a bit of a robotic sort of aura about him, a bit like Klopp, you know, and like the Tottenham manager, that type of personality, you know. And I think regarding Szoboszlai and the injuries and stuff, I'm thinking, how did he get injured so quick again? You know, I think our medical team is a big problem within the club. It has been for a long time, ever since the guy from Arsenal came in. And I think that needs to be sorted as well. So when Klopp goes in the summer, I think the first thing, yeah, we get a new manager in, but second thing, get that medical team sorted.
Do you know
And
what?
Perfect. Yeah.
I've seen someone's comment today, JK, and it says it was a cracking little comment actually. You know, no one mentioned it, not on this anyway, on someone's pod, and he said it'll show you if it's our training that's causing all these injuries. If they go, you know, a new manager comes in with different training. And I thought that was what do you think about that, K-Mac? You know, about Liverpool's training and all the injuries seem to be the injuries. They haven't been injured in a game. I don't think Szoboszlai was injured in a game. I think it's been in their training. What do you think?
I can give you some numbers on that, by the way. Last year we had 42 hamstring injuries, which is like, it's just like you get about 24 a season. We were literally just outran all of our opposition, snapped all our players' hamstrings. The thing about Dom, and this is just data, by the way. Dom's never done over 1,600 minutes a season at any club because he's not a first team player. He doesn't play week in, week out. He's never done that. He's always been impact player, or he's always been a player that they bring off. At Liverpool, he's just been absolutely burnt out, and he was played in pointless games against like Toulouse away and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, what are you playing Dom in those games for? Like, yeah. And the guy is literally 96 minutes of full throttle, like literally tracking and covering players all over the park. Like, the amount of times we've moved Dom over to like a wing position for like the last 20 minutes, and he's just busting a gut back, busting a gut forward. I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised he's burnt out. Like, he's been overplayed and overrun, and because of the way he plays in our team and the position he's been put in, which is basically the Hendo role for most of the season, I'm not surprised he's getting hamstrings now. Like, for me, Konate's next. Like, yeah, I'm surprised Konate's not broke.
But some fans, you know, would agree with you there, because they've been saying recently that he looks tired. I'm talking about Szoboszlai here.
He looks old.
And
he just aged about 5 years.
Yeah.
Have a look at his face, like now from when we signed him. He looks like he's been on the booze.
He needs a shave and a haircut.
Been sleeping under a bridge.
Keep it real, says you got Stato on the panel today, Frankie boy. Yay! There he is.
I mean, I don't know. 12 man next to me. 12 man next to me is pretty solid with his stats as well.
Oh right, okay.
Oh yeah.
What about? I'm sorry about this. I can't. I got this tingle. I can't get this bloody tingle. Anyway, listen, boys. What was you talking about, Canete there? Because that interested me what you said there.
I'm
surprised he's not broke his hamstrings.
Yeah, jeez, I hope not. I just hope not. All right, Darryl, What do you think about this? I know everyone wants Alonso, but I think Ruben Amorim has got a chance. He's won the title with Sporting, so he's sold by Fran.
Yeah,
He just said he knocked Arsenal out the Europa League as well last season with Sporting.
Was that you? Did you
Is there
talk?
an echo in the room?
Exactly. I don't know where they bloody I don't know how to get that off. Do you know? Anyway, what do you think of that, Darryl? You know, Ruben Amorim.
Yeah, I haven't really seen a lot of Sporting Lisbon in their football this year, to be honest, Frank, but I know they're top of the league. And I know they've got some tasty players at Sporting as well. He kind of looks a bit like De Zerbi, doesn't he, in his looks, wears jeans and trainers and what have you, and he's got that sort of stature like De Zerbi. I don't know, to be honest, Frank. If he does come in, that might give us a chance to get an Asio. Players like that, and that what's name's not a bad little player. That Goncalves, whatever his name is, good player.
See, the thing is, well, the fans come out, don't they? No matter who we get, you know, even Xabi Alonso, and they were mentioning players, he'll bring them in. It's not a matter of him bringing them in. It's a matter of FSG will actually say, well, yeah, there's the money, instead of selling the likes of Mo. Listen, people are forgetting about Mo Salah. Mo Salah, he's been out for ages now, and he's still our leading goal scorer. He still leads with assists. And this is what they're forgetting. And, you know, when we were, you know, on that little run of all those wins, you know, which was fantastic, don't forget. Fantastic. People were saying, oh, we can sell Mo. We can sell him now, you know, get so much for him now. But now, you know, since the defeat against Arsenal, everyone's said, when's Mo back? When's Enzo back? When's
because that was the game for Salah to come. That's the sort of game Salah does his business in, and this is why I say to sometimes to fans, you know, they need to chill out. Like without Salah, sometimes we need that guy.
The other day was Endo. We missed Endo against Arsenal.
Yeah, because with Endo,
someone just sitting in front of the centre backs.
Can't you came out with players like Endo? You can free up McAllister and Szoboszlai in their natural positions.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
That's why Szoboszlai got injured. He's used to a flair game in Leipzig. He was like running around, doing little balls here and there. None of this running around like a madman. I'm not
worried about Szoboszlai. He's not usually an injured player from what I know of him. But I am a little bit trepidatious. People have been using that word lately, trepidatious. With him getting this hamstring, I don't want to see it becoming a regular thing, a regular occurrence.
He's done a lot of donkey work. He's done a lot of donkey work since we've had a lot of injuries and been chasing back, which he shouldn't be there doing it.
That's why he's got the injury, because of that donkey work.
Yeah. Same with McAllister. Exactly the same.
I can understand the concern for the hamstring injuries that we get. I'm in line with the concern for the medical team and the injuries and the ability for them to diagnose them and be able to get these players properly fit, properly back onto the pitch and not have them get knocked back down. But I put in the numbers. I put some of the numbers in in the chat for Dom this year, and I just took 1 year of his progress in the sense of his last year with RB, and I took his numbers here this year. We've played half a season, you know, we're on in all 4 competitions, so that makes a difference. But we've played half a season. He's got 1,944 minutes played so far this year. Okay, that's how the total of what he has now. But yet last year for RB, he played 3,709 minutes with RB. So doing rough math, I mean, I'm just making quick and easy math. That's almost like half of what he's played last year comparative in numbers. So considering we're halfway through the season, you know, we're looking at a player that is playing on average about what he played last year. And then also when it comes to Dom, especially his injury record, I think I put that in the chat too, possibly, but he's only had really 2 pretty major injuries in his life. And one of them was concerning because it kept him out 60 games, but that was 2 years ago. And then before that, it was 2018, 2019 when he tore his I think his Achilles or something like that.
He got that injury when he was at Salzburg before he moved to Leipzig, the big one.
Right.
Yeah, and the 1600 minutes, I meant by the end of the year. I meant like half the year. Like he'd already done over that with us. That's what I meant by that.
Okay,
right. He has done 1,664. Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with you with this comment by Paul Bear. Good evening, boys. Just a thought. Do you think making 3 subs at once is upsetting the balance of the team? Seems to me every time of late we do it and the other team score. What do you think, lads? K-Mac, go on.
Yeah, I agree. It's also a bit weird because Klopp never made 3 subs at once. Like this is something new he's been doing recently. He normally does his 2 at 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Now he started doing 3, and I agree. Like against Norwich, we took our left back and our right back off, and we conceded straight away.
Yeah.
And I didn't think we needed to take all 3 players off. Like against Arsenal. I mean, look, the weird thing about Arsenal, like, okay, I got really mad about it. And just looking back, it's only our 2nd defeat this season, so I really need to shut my gob there, like, and kind of reel a bit of that back because I went a bit crazy over it.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's the way we would do it. It was the way we were beaten, though.
It was like a sliding doors moment. Like it really was because we were on the ascendancy. We had a couple of chances, and then just a complete mix-up between 2 players who were normally 95% all season, like solid as rocks. Just a weird one, and that just kind of that was the end of the game, really. You know, we couldn't switch it back on because Arsenal are a really good team as well, and they got their backs up, and yeah, it was just one of those things. What I will say though, and I would say this is probably more prevalent than the 3 subs, is all 4 losses we've had this season, Darwin Núñez didn't start. Like Darwin Núñez is the pacemaker. Darwin Núñez is the tempo maker in the team. All the games that we've lost, Núñez wasn't on the pitch to start off with. He was brought on as a sub. I just feel like he needs to start games. Like he gives us the legs. He puts them under pressure early on. He's just a really good presser. He's just chaos. Like he's a massive influence for our team. And if we're playing at home, Núñez has to play because he gets the crowd up as well.
And he does get the crowds up. What do you think, 12th man? Do you agree with what K-Mac said there?
About Núñez or about
and about what Paul Burke says as well about bringing 3 subs on and unbalances the team.
I can understand that concern. I think that the reason why we did make the 3 subs that we did in that game was because I think that we weren't necessarily getting what we wanted from the people that we had on the pitch. I think that it's obvious to me that Trent isn't necessarily back to game match fitness to the levels that we need him to be, per se. I don't think that we were getting out of Gravenberch. I don't think that we were getting the results or the presence that we wanted from him. He just wasn't really firing on all cylinders with and making a real connection. Personally, I liked Elliott and Curtis Jones' relationship on the pitch better than Gravenberch and Curtis Jones' relationship. But all the same, and then the other one was the other one that got subbed out was we had to bring in. I don't think we wanted to use Núñez so early, but because of his foot injury, but we needed him. You know, the stat that K-Mac just brought up was spot on, in that he is a dynamic feature in our club that makes a difference in our club and in the presence on the pitch. So we needed something to spark anything. And if there's anything on our bench that could do that, it's Elliott, who has provided super sub status for us in some cases, and Nunez. And that's why he figured that we have to make these subs, because we don't want to see Trent, who was playing more of a traditional right back role for us in the game. You know, we just couldn't take the chance anymore. We had to have some type of spark of energy. And I don't think he wanted to make the 3 subs. I think he had to make the 3 subs. There's a difference.
Okay, that's it. Well, according to Keep It Real, Szoboszlai has borrowed Michael Owen's hamstring, it seems. That's not a good thing, isn't it? Borrowing hamstrings. Minerals FC, big up, lads. Thoughts on Nunez? Is he Uruguayan? Is he the Uruguayan Andy Carroll? No. That's just a simple answer.
This was the first time where the subs haven't worked, really, isn't it? All the other matches, the subs, it's worked, hasn't it, where we've made the subs. It was just one of them games where the sub, it just never went right all night, did it? We started poorly and never recovered. All the other games, the substitutions have paid off, but we started the game better, or we were. It just never worked all night, did it? Like from the off, that was just, whatever we did, it just never worked. We started never recovered.
Can I just mention this lady here, Jean Grey Mark II? We want the Mark what? Never mind Mark II. But anyway, great evening, gents. Frank Carlyle, panel and chat, 100%, loving everything else. Thank you, Jane. And Paul Smith actually says this. I'll go to Darryl. Because Darryl signs to say something there, Anyway, Paul Smith says, I hate to say it, but players we sign always get injured under Klopp. Darryl.
Yeah, I kind of agree there a little bit there. Players do get injured under when they first sign for Klopp, to be fair. But maybe, as I said, it's not just... Pep Lijnders has to have a look into this, because when I watch the training sessions, Pep Lijnders does seem to really overwork them quite a lot. I watch the live training thing, and it's always Lijnders. I don't think Klopp has much actually to do with how they get injured, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
It's more Lijnders.
The training thing as well. I looked into this because last season was just nuts. Like just over the last couple of years, we've just had so many injuries. So I actually looked into it, and I mean, did you know that we're the only club that does training at night?
No.
Do you remember
we also do training on a Friday, and if we've got a game on a Saturday, they'll still play. Like,
do you remember when Klopp first came at the rash of injuries we got then?
Crazy.
From the change in the training.
He does double sessions as well. Like, he really, really does. Like, and the training regime is absolutely bonkers at Liverpool. Like, it's really hard for players to adjust to it. That's probably the reason why McAllister looks like he's blowing after 60 minutes in every game. Like, it's just, you have to be able to run. Like, do you remember the lactate test as well? Like, have you heard of any other club that does lactate tests?
No, I'd never heard of it before.
Exactly. It's just Liverpool. It won't happen. It won't happen under the new manager.
The James Milner show every year. Well,
I think is it Bradley? I think Bradley is now the new lactate monster. I think it's Bradley. Might be Elliott actually. Could be Elliott or Bradley. I know it's one of the young ones.
Oh
yeah, there's a new one
Dom,
on me.
Dom won it. Dom won.
Was it Dom?
Dom won the. Yeah, Dominic won. That's why everyone was so surprised.
Well, wish he had now. Look at his hammies.
Everyone was so enamored by his fitness, because he just has a absolute incredible engine on him, and he was able to really surpass. And I believe without Milner in that test this year, Trent was looking to make a go at it this year for instance, though. But Dom ended up winning the contest. this year.
I think Gomez beat Trent, by the way.
Yeah, possibly.
Proves how fit he
She's
is this season.
Robbo's girlfriend. She's some sort of sportswoman as well.
You know,
Lovely.
I've
Who's
also
that?
said this as well. This is like I
What's
know
that?
that I know this is unusual for Premier League teams as well, or just for teams in general for when they train and when they do things. But there's some science behind it in that normally you try to train your body to be ready at the times you expect to play. So if you're preparing yourself let's say you have a lot of night games or early evening games or such, you try to train yourself to be prepared in that segment of time. So if you train early in the morning, chances are you're not having games early in the morning, for instance. So your body gets conditioned to knowing when to expect to have to exert things, when your body's going to be eating. I know it's like the sports science stuff. I can see Frank's already like tuning out, but I mean, like, yeah, that's part of the reasoning behind why they're doing some of the things they're doing.
But at 12 man, you need to get over to Liverpool and sort them out because there's too many injuries.
Right.
I just hope they're not getting injured at night because they can't see each other.
Keep it real. I'm gonna go to Lee, and then K-Mac. Okay, and then the rest of you is okay. Just come in. I'm hoping the new manager uses his brain and deploys Trent in a double pivot next to McAllister next season, and we will coop with proper wing backs. What do you think of that? Right to you, Lee, and then you, K-Mac. See what Lee has to say first.
It depends. If it's Alonso and he comes in and plays a back three,
But he's just saying a new manager, no matter who the new manager is. You agree with what he's saying, that's all.
Okay.
Lee's saying.
Okay. Yeah, let's say it's Alonso and he comes in and does that, then yeah, it'd be good. Trent would be excellent in there, I think. But Trent would also be excellent as the wing back, as a right wing back, and Robbo would be excellent as a left wing back. And it'd be excellent having McAllister and Endo as a double pivot, and having Jota and Nunes as a front two, or Nunes and someone else as a front. We've got players. That's what's exciting about the possible new era. We've actually got the players. We don't actually maybe even need any signings. We could actually do it with the players we've got. So, I'll just leave it there and let someone else come in on that.
Okay, K-Mac, what about you and that keep it real? Does that sound good to you? Trent in a double pivot next to McAllister next season.
Okay, so
the
if you
top
look
of
at
the wing backs, by the way.
So if you look at just a couple of the managers that we're looking at, okay, so we're looking at Alonso plays a three at the back with his wing backs. His wing backs, Grimaldo's on, I think he's on 10 goals this season as a wing back, by the way, and Frimpong's on, I think he's on 7 goals this season, and God knows how many assists. So we've literally got Robbo's on like 57 assists, like more assists than any other player in Premier League. From that position, and then you got Trent behind him with like 47 or something like that. So to have them further forward would just be incredible for us. Like the amount of assists and chances we get created through playing those wing backs, and that would work a treat. We've got an incredible midfield with an engine which is monstrous, and we've got brilliant passers in our midfield anyway. So the thing about it is, Trent is the best passer in the Liverpool team. Yeah, has been for years. Blah, 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 blah. We've now got 2 others that are really, really good in Dom and McAllister. I mean, Curtis Jones ain't bad either, to be fair.
No,
and you've got 2 centre backs that are really good at passing in Gomez and Virgil van Dijk. So I mean, that's just an Alonso system. Then you've got De Zerbi. I mean, Trent could just do the Estupiñán like position where he spends most of his time in the opposition's half. Like, he's one of their most dangerous players. Like, if they haven't got Estupiñán, they play Matoma and Solly March. How good was Solly March? He was a wing back under De Zerbi. He scored like God knows how many goals until he got injured. He reinvented Solly March into a really good player. And then you've got Amaron, who's, I think he plays three at the back as well. He gets a lot of goals from his midfielders. Like, doesn't need to play this double pivot. Like, we could play three midfielders with the wing backs. So we're playing like a 3-5-2. Like, you know, with the guys much further forward. I've always wanted Trent to be basically a right winger anyway, and I always wanted Robbo to basically be a left winger, because that's all they did anyway.
But you can't now, you know.
Now they'll just be released.
Yeah, but you can't leave now young Bradley out, can you? You know, so if he's talking about that and the wing backs, yeah, Bradley should be there.
Frank,
Bradley's
played 5 games.
What?
Let's be a bit real here. Bradley's played 5 games.
Phenomenal.
I know, but he's only played 5 games.
But no, listen to this, and this is genuine. I go back and I seen Phil Thompson's debut. I also seen Alan Hanson's debut, and I said then, these are going to be fantastic. They were fantastic. I even seen Terry McDermott when I was at the Newcastle game down at Wembley when we beat them. Right, I was there, and it was unbelievable. And I seen Terry McDermott, and I said, I wish we had him. He's cracking him. Then I was told he was from Liverpool. Then we bought him. And Terry McDermott was one of our greatest of all, even now, any era, midfielders. So, you know, I looked at Quonsar as well. The first time I seen him, I said, this kid's going to be great. And he is going to be great. And I know what you're saying about him only 5 games, but I can see that this lad is absolutely amazing. And I don't think, you know, he's going to take like a step back and, you know, where he becomes like a useless player. That's just me. That's just my opinion, in all honesty. Now, where's Jean Gray? I'll stay with UK, Matt. I'd play Endo at the weekend. Need him up to speed ASAP. Play him with Jones and Trent. What do you think of that comment?
I don't think we particularly need him against Burnley at home. I think Trent could play in midfield. Bradley comes back. Like, I mean, if you want to put a player in there instead of Dom, you could definitely play Trent there. Like, I think Trent just needs to play there now, because he just doesn't defend. He doesn't want to defend. He doesn't care. Doesn't look like he's arsed. Like, I'm trying to find a way of Trent being in the team, because at the moment I don't want him in the bloody team.
You know, you know, he can't be bothered, and we know this. So, what do you think? What do you think of that attitude yourself, personally?
I mean, you could literally find a YouTube clip now of Trent walking back into position. It's getting a bit of a joke. So throw him in a position where he doesn't need to think about defending, and just let him do his thing. Otherwise, Real Madrid are going to come knocking. They just will. Like, they're losing their right back.
Yeah, I think that's a rare.
We don't need loads of defensive midfielders against Burnley. I mean, Jesus Christ, they're Burnley. We should just hammer them. They're crap.
Yeah, but we've got to win these games.
We need to give.
What do you think, 12th man? What do you think? I can see you want to say something, mate.
I know that often I'm the defense league when it comes to the players, and a lot of the players per se. I really struggle sometimes when I hear, you can't say generational talent, you can't say world-class talent with Trent and then say, but we don't have a place for him on the pitch, or he's not this, or he's not that. It's at least in my opinion, at least you can't do that, because realistically, there's differences in what we see. 2018 to 2020, no one was saying how we need to do this or that, or Trent's not a good defender, or he's not this or whatever. None of those concerns were prevalent. As of late, yes, when we had the confines of Fabinho on his last legs, when we had Henderson on his last legs, some of those different gauges that we had put in, or insurance blocks, or whatever you want to call them, to be able to have the ability to utilize Trent's offensive talents, just weren't covering the same amount of ground for us. We went into the market, brought back an Endo, brought back a McAllister, brought back a Dominic. These players now definitely have the legs to be able to maintain what we need to go forward. We're just also looking at these sample sizes of Trent. Sometimes during these stages when Dom's not playing with them, we're not talking about the same triangle on the side on that side of the pitch. We're talking about a game that he had Gravenberch in that spot. We're talking about a period when we had Cody Hackbo on the right wing. Those aren't the same measures of I don't think those are the same measures that you can utilize in trying to evaluate if he's good or bad for us in the right back position, simply because the main pieces that make him able to do the things that we want to see him do aren't there. So if you were to say, okay, we're struggling with Trent with Dom, we're struggling with Trent with Salah, then I'd say, okay, that's a conversation. But considering that we're plugging in and placing players into the midfield, and even sometimes with the absence of Mo Salah and Endo in the right wing position, I don't know if it's a valid sample size to say, oh, we just can't use Trent at the right back is a done deal. We're just not going to be able to use him. I just personally think that the right back position for Trent is essential, primarily because, one, you have to ask yourself these questions, and I'm sorry for being long-winded with the answer, but you have to ask yourself this one question, or these two questions at least, two, if not three questions. One, you put him in the midfield, who do you take out? Who do you take out? He's not going to play DM. Okay, so we eliminate that. So we have either the left or the right midfielder position. I think Curtis Jones is the most essential player to our midfield. I've been alone in saying that in the very beginning, but more so now, more people are taking witness or taking a point on Curtis Jones provides us exactly the same, or if not more of the same elements that a Ginny did for our team. So I don't want to see that eight spot, which I believe he's made his own, be replaced. When it comes to the right midfielder, I think Dom does Hendo and more, because Dom has the ability to do what Henderson does, but he's got tons more in the offensive locker than Hendo ever had. So if you have an offensive capable Henderson in that role on the right side, I'm cool with Dom being in that right side. So that doesn't leave any positions in the midfield. The only way we can get him into the midfield is what we're doing currently, which is utilize him as an inverted halfback. That answers a lot of questions for us, because often, last year especially, we were getting outnumbered, outmanned in the midfield. The only way we could do that is by providing another player in that midfield to take the numbers and make the numerical advantage that other teams had against us be naught. And that's what we have this year by having him in that inverted role. And then we have the utilization of him being in that inverted role that creates him being a midfield quarterback for us, in essence. That is incredible to have. He can also, if he wants to, continue to do what he does by utilizing the wing. If he does that, there's so many options that are created by him having that hybrid role that he now defines. And that's why I think we're not.
Can I rebuttal on that?
Certainly.
Sorry, go on, Frank. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, so who's your favourite, who you'd play week in, week out, midfield? Who's your three who you'd play in week out?
So my if everyone was healthy, to be honest with you, if everyone was healthy, I would have most likely Curtis Jones. I would have Dominic on the right side. And in that DM role, I would either have, depending on our opposition, I'd have either Endo or McAllister. And if everyone was healthy, I might even have Thiago in that role, to be honest with you. But we all know Thiago's history of injuries and everything such. So we're not saying that we should just rely on Thiago as being a viable option. I'm glad to see him back, though. And I hope that he can stay with us for the entirety of the year. But if I'm looking at a midfield, I think Curtis Jones has solidified himself as our left midfielder. I mean, I don't know what the panel or the chat thinks, but I know personally, I think that Curtis Jones is an essential cog in our midfield. I think Dominic is such a diverse, incredible player. I mean, there's reasons why people are calling him the Hungarian Gerrard and all those other, very, very I want to say outlandish, but very, very high praised names for him. But I think that Dominic provides what we need and what we can utilize in that right midfielder role. And he brings so many offensive tools to play. I'm excited to see what we can get out of him. And when it comes to that 6 role for this system, Klopp has it in him that it's a hybrid DM. I get everyone wants a destroyer. Everyone wants that Fabinho. But that's not what we're looking for in this role right now. That's why McAllister, who I think McAllister, truthfully, since the City game, has made immense strides at the 6. I think ever since we played City, McAllister has made the 6 made a strong shout for the 6 to be his own. I know that he got injured and everything else. And, we had to wait for him to come back with that crazy gash in his leg. But since he's been back, he has been possibly one of our best players on this club.
Yeah.
So,
Can I just rebuttal on that? And I'll also add something as well. The Hungarian national managers came out and said that Dom can play for a better team than Liverpool, which is definitely some praise, isn't it? Yeah. Which means he thinks he's good enough to play for Real Madrid.
Who is the Hungarian national manager?
No, that's not praise. Yeah. That's a slap in the face, K-Mac. We are the better. We are in the levels of Real Madrid.
But that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I know. Playing for a better team. He's playing for the best team in the world.
Who is this guy? I don't know who he is.
No, neither do I. Neither do I. I just read it somewhere. So my rebuttal is Dom's worst games for Liverpool are when Trent's in the team. And that's just a fact. Dom doesn't play well when Trent's playing. And the reason why is Trent inverts into Dom's position and then Dom basically hasn't got a job to do. So he has to move into another position, which is kind of a bit of odd job, like all over the shop. And then he gets in the way of Salah. And then all 3 don't have a great relationship together when they play together. All 3 don't play well together. Like some of Salah's worst games is when Dom and Trent are playing and vice versa. And the only player who comes out of it with any credit is Trent. And that's why you either put him in midfield or you sell him. Like, seriously, or you change your formation completely. And that's why I can't wait to get a new manager, because this whole Trent thing has just been dragging on for just so bloody long. It's just so annoying.
I think if Alonso comes in, we're going to be seeing him as a wing back, aren't we?
And that's exactly what Albert put in the chat. The new manager will have to tell Trent where he plays. Like you are a right back, or you're playing in midfield, mate. Like for me, I have no idea why Trent didn't end up being a right-sided attacker. If you're so good at shooting, you're so good at passing, you're so good at creating chances, why wouldn't you want a right winger? Why don't you convert him into a right winger? He's good at interceptions. He's really doesn't win a lot of duels. Doesn't win the messed about of duels. Gets caught ball watching a lot. Lets a lot of people run past him. He gets digged on for defending for so long. Just put him higher up. Take away that part of the game, so we can concentrate more on what he's really good at.
But that's been 50 years though, hasn't it, K-Mac? And I don't think Klopp likes being told what to do. In my
You know
opinion,
what? Like,
he just doesn't like
it is what it is. Can I just comment on the Ian McHale comment that he put up about Judge Smacked? Because I've got some stats on Grav and Gapco,
Yeah, I
and then
was
I'm going to
looking at
shoot.
that
That's
before.
okay.
Yeah. Ian McKay, yeah.
And
Good
12
boy.
man, you might want to close your ears on this.
Yeah, it was about, he's brought in good players. Am I right?
Yeah.
And he mentions Gravenberch and Gakpo. Go on.
Anyway, I'll give you some numbers on these two. Okay, so my synopsis on these two after looking at this data is they're just not involved in the game. They just don't get involved in the football match. Okay, and I'll show you why. Okay, first of all, I'll talk about Gapco because he's played with us. He played for us longer. So he's got 21. Okay, so he's got 21 starts. Sorry, 21 games, 10 starts, 11 subs this season already. Gapco. So he's basically a substitute a lot. Okay, if he's not playing, he's being dragged off. Okay, maybe not dragged off, but he's being taken off. He's only had 280 passes this season and 214 completed.
Wow.
Now, for me, that sticks out as a guy that just doesn't get involved in the game. Like, I've seen Trent have 150 passes in one game. Okay. 418 touches this season. That's just not good enough.
No.
It's really, really not good enough for me. 29 shots, 11 on target, 3 goals, 2 assists. For total, since we've had him, 58 games, 16 goals, 5 assists. Now, those numbers don't look that bad, but they do if you compare them to other strikers at Liverpool. That's a really low number as a striker at Liverpool. So the thing that concerns me the most with Gapco is we've drew 13 games and we've lost 11 with him, and he's only played 58 games. So he seems to be on the losing side a lot with us. The games we lose, he's playing. And the games we draw, he's playing. So that's the one that sticks out for me. And 280 passes this season is pathetic. I'm sorry. It's just pathetic. Okay. You just need to be more involved in the game. And the crazy thing is, Gravenberch has done more and he's played less. So Gravenberch, 17 games, 8 starts, 9 subs. Same as Gapco. He either comes on or he gets taken off. Now, he's had 308 passes in total and 252 completed. I mean, that's just not enough involvement as a midfielder for me. And you're playing in the position mostly where you're supposed to be impacting the game. Like, you're supposed to be transitioning. You're supposed to be creating chances. You're supposed to be breaking up play, like in the positions that you're being played in, either on the left or on the right. 316 touches. Like, seriously, like, basically he touches the ball and he passes it. That's what it looks like to me. And another concern I've got with him is he's only had 12 tackles. He's playing in midfield. He's only tackled 12 times, and 5 of them he's won. I mean, most of them were probably in one game. Like, and 37% of duels he's won. Like, he's not even winning the duels. Like, he's not even 50-50 in them. Like, 50-50 in is quite bad. Like, you're a midfielder. Like, it's just, it's stinky. And
didn't you say that he only had 26 touches in was that last week's game?
Yeah, sorry, 429 touches he's had all season. Sorry, which isn't that different, to be honest. It's still really bad.
Of course it is.
Now the numbers as well is, and this is what concerns me as well. So we've won 19 games. We've won 19 games. 6 draws, 3 losses. He's been in all our losses this season. and he's been in all our draws this season. He's been on the pitch. Okay? There's only one game that he wasn't on the pitch for the loss, and that's the Tottenham game. And we only lost that because of an own goal. Like, seriously. A 96-minute own goal. Like, if you want to blame anyone, blame Matip for spooning it in the top corner. But this is my synopsis on these two players. These are really bad signings, and these are signings which aren't good enough to be squad players. Because I get that they're coming on as subs and I get they're taken off as subs, but they're really not being involved in the game when they're on the pitch. And you need your central midfielder to be involved in the game, and you need your attacker to touch the bloody ball more.
Well, that's the beauty of a new regime. A new manager will come in, and if he doesn't fancy them, they'll be going. And they weren't big signings price-wise, so we'd be able to recoup that money.
70 million. 70 million pounds worth of signings then. McAllister cost 25.
United are buy Gakpo or Gravenberch if we don't want them.
I don't think anyone's going to Man U from Liverpool.
If they don't work out and we don't want them, United will snap our hands off for them.
Anyway, they're the numbers. I did the numbers.
What about Zia Uden? I think Klopp is the issue. He might be quitting because he don't know how to use Trent. Don't think it's that, to be honest. But, you know,
I think Gakpo will work out. Like, I don't know about Ryan. I'm undecided about Ryan, but I think Gakpo will work out. Like,
well, Jean Gray says that's why I said Trent midfield with Enzo and Jones. Enzo will defend. Jones and Trent will push forward. Back four. Quansah, Virgil, Joey, that's Gomez, and Robbo. Would you play Robbo? Yeah, I'll go straight to you, JK. Would you play Robbo or Robertson? I don't like calling him Robbo. Would you play Robertson against Burnley?
I would. Actually, I like Dean's selection there. I think this whole Trent topic is actually you're wasting his talent for this season. We need him to be on top of his game, but we need to find out where does the guy play. You know, he's a wasted talent, and we're going to go for a league title now. So for me, Burnley, the perfect opposition to get Robertson back in the team, play Gomez right back, and then play Trent in midfield.
Because Burnley aren't very good. Get Trent, Robbo and Enzo back in the team, get them 90 odd minutes, just get them back in and playing and win the game.
You can take Robertson.
So it's Burnley the right game, you know, to play them, to get them match fit. Yeah. And do you know what no one's mentioned, and I'm glad actually, Thiago. You know, because people are saying Thiago's fit now, and Thiago hasn't played in a year.
Yeah,
he come on sub the other day, but he's
not
fit.
He's not.
What about you? But... I'm sorry. Go ahead, JK. Sorry.
Yeah, I just feel that seeing Thiago the other day, I think the game was not the right game for him to come back in. But I think for the Burnley game, it's too quick for him to start. But I'd love to see a midfielder of Szoboszlai, McAllister, and him in a midfield. Well,
that'd be brilliant, actually.
That'd be brilliant.
What about you?
Anyway? Give them as long as we can. The players that we want to play regularly, give them as long as we can against Burnley. Trent, Robbo, Endo. We want to see them in the big games like City when City comes to town. So give them as long as we can and take them off, whatever.
Because we got a final. We got a final in a few weeks, and I think Klopp needs to sort of first 11 out, like who's going to play in which positions, and get it set before that game.
Well, Enzo, Trent, and Rob will be playing the final, and they'll be playing against City, I would imagine. So I'll be wanting to see them start against Burnley myself, like.
Well, what about what Jean Gray says there, K-Mac? That's why I said Trent in midfield with Enzo and Jones. Enzo will defend. Jones and Trent will push forward. Back four, Quansah, Virgil, Gomez, Robertson.
I don't want to see Robbo play again. For me, I think he's finished. That's it. For me, we need to move on. Like Joe Gomez has now got his spot. Like Robbo can try and get it back off him. He's not going to do it anytime soon for me. Like I ain't shoehorning Joey Gomez all over the shop. Like Joey Gomez is the left-sided player now. Like he's fine. Like he's done an absolutely sensational job. He looks really familiar in that position. He looks much better inverted than bloody Trent does. Like at least he doesn't get in the way of Dominic Szoboszlai and muddle up the midfield. Did you see where he played against Arsenal, Joey? It was nuts. Yeah. He was higher up than the midfielders. Like tactics against Arsenal were bonkers, man. Just absolute bonkers. Just crazy, man.
But I agree with you there. And Robertson, for me, even Samitas can the ball better than him.
Wow, come on.
Go on, what was you saying there, Lee?
I mean, you want Bradley to play, don't you? Like,
yeah, of course.
Bradley's, you haven't even mentioned Bradley. Like, Bradley keeps his spot, like, for the time being. Like, definitely play him against Burnley. Burnley are crap. Bradley will tear them a new one. Like, who's their left back or right back? I don't even know who they are. Like, or Vittino or something like that. His name is, isn't he? He's been skinned about 1 million times this year. Yeah, like Bradley will be on it like from minute one. Like,
that would be a good one, actually. Play Trent on the right wing with Bradley at right back. That would be a good idea.
What about you, 12th man? What Ian Gray says there, where Enzo will defend, Jones and Trent will push forward, back four, Quansah, Virgil, Gomez and Robbo. What was you say to that?
That's not a bad shout. It's definitely an adaptation to the lineup. I don't know if that means that Robbo, I guess, would possibly. Joey's been playing inverted as well, but I don't know if that means that Robbo would play. I'm not against having 3 center backs in the back line to hold down that back line. But I wanted to address something though, and that is because I know that the fervor.
Leverkusen have just scored in the 90th minute, by the way, 3-2. Sorry.
Good. Oh, to make it 3-2. Wow, that's big.
Yeah, Alonso's been down. They've been down one. They've been down twice now in the game, and now they're winning in the 90th minute.
That's big.
That's another game Alonso's winning. That's in the cup. Sorry.
No, that's very good. I mean, they're only 2 points ahead of Bayern Munich right now, so that definitely makes a difference if they can keep pace and keep push them.
That's a cup game. That's a cup game.
Oh, it's a cup game. Okay, then it doesn't matter.
Well, there's Daryl Merry. He just went off all of a sudden. No one knows why, unfortunately. Anyway, he says Klopp interested in the Barca job, boys. Now, I was looking at something. I was reading something today. And he's just built like a £2.5 million villa in Spain as Yeg. Don't know whether you know about.
£2.4 million, isn't it? Eco home.
An eco home, yeah. So I think Greta Thunberg's going to be with him there, keeping the pool clean.
I think W. Henry's got one right next to him, hasn't he?
I just in Mallorca.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not in Barcelona. It's not in Barcelona.
The one thing I wanted to bring up though was the comment because again I have to play defensively for Trent, but I wanted to say that so the comment was out there that we haven't played well with Trent and Dom in the lineup, and I think that's factually false. I mean, truthfully, a lot of times people would say, what is our best game we played so far this year? Possibly. Could be Aston Villa, right? Possibly that's being argued as being one of our best performances against Villa. Well, in that game, Aston Villa, Dom scored and Trent had an assist. And we won 3-0. They played pretty well in that game. Sheffield, as in Another game that might be out there is West Ham. Now, I was going to leave West Ham for the last point, but because in West Ham, Trent came on as a sub in that game, but Trent had 2 assists. Dom had a goal. Okay. Again, albeit Trent came on as a sub in that game. But then again, you want to talk about other games that Dom and Trent have played together, really good games that they played well together in. Well, Fulham, the 4-3 game that Trent had the game winner in, Dom and Trent played together in that game. And Dom and Trent played well in that game. And they made a difference. And that's why we had the result. You can then push back and say, oh, well, then what's another game? Well, then Forest. We won 3-0 against Forest, who played Trent and Dom. Okay, well then, is there another game out there? Oh, well, there is. And that would be Brentford. Brentford, Trent and Dom played together once again. And what was the result? A 3-0 win against Sheffield United. Dom scored and Trent and played with Trent, and they played well in that game. You know, against Newcastle, the game we won 4-2. Dom played and Trent played. Great game for both of them. And that's why I'm getting at, like, I get the reactionary bias that we do see in a lot of the fan base. And I just don't understand, though, when we selectively omit relative stats or relative games, relative performances. And those are the relative performances that I've just mentioned that Dom and Trent.
Agree with you.
Yeah, I agree as well.
The interesting thing about the Villa game at Anfield was we had Gomez at left centre back and Matip at right centre back. We were out without Virgil, and they didn't get anywhere near us. Gomez played excellent at left centre back that day. Do you reckon Gomez or Quansah will partner Virgil against Burnley?
Yeah.
I'm
more enlightened by the resurgence of Gomez. I'm more like, enlightened by the presence and emergence of Quansah. I'm more enlightened by the fact that Connor Bradley has made this appearance as being an option for us. I'm more enlightened the fact that a lot of people did not have such high regard for our youth academy. But because of
I like what Quansah said. He said, I know Connor's game inside out because we played through the youth team. So when I'm playing right centre back and Connor's at right back, I know his game inside out.
Yes.
So that's a good one, isn't it, when they play together?
Yeah. and that's why, you know what, I was surprised, but by that statement alone makes understanding. And again, Klopp sees these guys every day on the pitch. We don't get the privilege of seeing all of their relationships and everything on the pitch. But you're right. Like, as in when he put Quansah and Bradley together on that right side, I was surprised to see that. But hey, you know what? It's because he believes in it. He understands it, and he's seen the fact that they have some type of chemistry, and they understand that. So he was. The more of the trust that I see from Klopp in the youth is very endearing. The fact of our future is very bright. That's how I.
Yeah.
They've both been at the club for like 10 years. I've got to go, guys. All right.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Good seeing you again, 12 man.
Always came back. Always.
I was going to ask you this last comment. Can you comment on it? I read Pepe Linda says we don't play with an out-and-out striker. Our forwards interchange. People need to get off Darwin's back. Some only hear what suits their narrative or agenda. Can you comment on that?
Pep Linders needs to shut his bloody gob. Like, bloody hell. We get it, mate. We get it, mate. You made millions writing a book. Just shut up.
Isn't he?
I've never known an assistant manager to have so much gob and so much coverage.
Yeah.
Like, do you know who Pep Guardiola's assistant manager is? Do you ever see him? Does he do interviews?
Hear a lot, do you? You don't hear a lot from him.
Who's Arteta's assistant manager?
I don't know.
Exactly. Who's Ten Hag's assistant manager? Isn't it? Is like his brother or someone like that? Well, he looks like him. But
good point. Very
exactly.
Good point. Salient point.
Why do we have to have this guy like literally just chops it off, like turning around saying, "Oh, guess what? Me and Jurgen had a bet, and I bet in my year's wages that Trent would be the best inverted right back."
Yeah.
Like, shut up, Linders. Like,
Well,
like
but
go and manage Man United or Ajax because you keep on waffling on that you got offered the job.
yeah, he did. And the thing is, as well, with Pep, you know, as I said, you know, he's brought in these, you know, Gravenberch and the other fella, Gapco, and he keeps coming out. But it's Jurgen Klopp's fault for giving him the reins. And I don't know why he did that. Because he comes out, doesn't he, you know, with the Caribou Cup and, you know, coming out with all these stupid remarks that he does come out with. And bad, in my opinion. Bad.
We're the only we're the only club that have got 2 assistant managers.
Yeah.
Like so at one stage I was sat there thinking, who's managing the club? Like, who is our manager? Like, is it Linda's? And Klopp's basically doing Billy Hogan's job. Like what was happening last year? Like, did Klopp have a sabbatical? Like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna go, guys. All right, but the next manager's got a big job because we're getting rid of everybody.
Yeah.
I would be sorry to see Linda's, to be honest. Like, I'll be glad.
Someone mentioned today, if we get rid of Virgil, Mo, and Trent, and I think he mentions Allison, you know, we should. That's the bloody spine of the whole of the team. The spine of it.
People just going over the top, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely! You know, there's some of our fans who are absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, for me, we're probably going to trim the wage bill by like 600,000 a week, because there's a 200 million bid that's being talked about from El Ahad, the most, is it El Ahad from Saudi Arabia, basically the biggest team, like the biggest team in the Saudi Arabian league.
Is it
200 million's been talked.
Is it the biggest one?
Yeah, NASA's not top. NASA's not the highest one. It's the one with Neymar. It's the one with Neymar. So they'll have basically Neymar and Salah on the wings.
Exactly, and I'm fed up.
But if Mbappe goes to Real Madrid, which it looks very, very likely, doesn't it? I know they keep on saying that they're still talking about it, but if he goes to Real Madrid, Salah's going to PSG. It just makes sense.
Well, that's his mate, isn't it? Who owns the
just
club.
Makes sense, and that money funds the next manager's transfer kitty, and then you're taking Thiago, Matip, Salah off the wage bill. That's 600k.
I've seen pictures of Mo Salah with him. That's Nasser Al Khalifi. He's the president of
it's his mate.
PSG. So Mo's really good friends with him, is he? It's more than just like he knows him.
It's his mate.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, think about Mo Salah. Like he got 2 million votes from the Egyptian public to be prime minister, and he wasn't even in the running. like, I'm not surprised he knows the owner of PSG, like, because he's like a trillionaire or something, isn't he? Anyway, I've got to shoot, guys. All right, we'll see you later.
Thanks a lot, K-Mac, mate. Thank you so much. And,
catch you later, 12 man. All right, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
We will go again. We will fight again.
Yes, we will go again.
PSG get a lot of shirt sales and everything, wouldn't they? And it'd work out for them, I suppose, wouldn't it? If it did go through, if it happened. But we've only got a year left, haven't we, on Mo's contract? So if he was to go anywhere but Saudi, that's probably the only place he'd go, isn't it? He's probably right. I've never thought about it. I never thought about him leaving until there was that bid from Saudi, because I never thought like any club really had the money or anything to tempt him. I never thought about him wanting to leave. Did you? Did you ever think any other club could tempt him in any other country? Not why Klopp was here anyway, I didn't think. Did you? Did you ever think anyone could tempt him away why Klopp was here? Why Klopp was managing him? I didn't.
Well, that was the thing. Yeah, that was unbelievable. That was absolutely amazing. And someone's having a go at K-Mac here, but and it was about anyway. I don't know. And Q says hopefully we keep Salah, Trent, and Virgil.
It's a
Well,
year,
they're
isn't
fine.
it? We've got a year, and whichever manager comes in, why would they not want to keep him? Is
Exactly.
my question. Why would any manager coming in not want to keep him out?
But don't you think? I'll go to our 12th man here. Don't you think because Virgil came out and said he made a mistake, you know, that led to the Arsenal goal. He did come out and say it. Now, before that game, and I'm talking from last August, right up, everybody was saying Virgil's back to his best. And because he made that mistake, he's allowed a mistake. You know, because he had that mistake. Now he's he's making mistakes. You know, and let's get rid of him because I've seen that today.
Right.
And these players, you were there, JK. Yeah, you know when this was said. What's your take? Do you take that? Virgil, Trent, Mo. Do you think they should go? What was happen if they went next? For next season, what was happened to us?
12.
Well, my take from that is this: is that it's very interesting. Again, it goes to the whole recency bias that we see so prevalent in a lot of fan bases. You know, it's not remembering or regarding any of the, accomplishments or progress that these players have made. It's, what have you done for me lately? What did you just do? And you utilize that as being, Trent, or not Trent, but at least Virgil had a bad game. He came out, said that, he acknowledged he had a bad game. I think the team in general, pretty much from top to bottom, had a pretty subpar game. Maybe you can make a shout for McAllister having a decent game. I thought he did have a good game. And you can maybe make a slight shout for Lucho having somewhat of a presence on the pitch yesterday. Obviously got the goal against Arsenal. But other than that, everyone just had an off game, and that's going to sometimes happen. Is it bad? Is it sad to see it happen under the terms that it did? Absolutely. I don't like losing against anyone, much less the Gooners. But, I just think that, yeah, you're right. Sometimes players just have a bad day at the office. I am more critical. I'll be more critical and more cognitive of the fact of what you do going forward. How, like, as in my one of the mottos of mine is like, get knocked down 7 times, get up 8, as in, it doesn't matter how badly you fail. It's about what you learn from that failure and how you progress forward to make amends and possibly make better decisions going forward. So for me, getting these next couple of games are important games for us to see where our footing is. If we're stuck, quabbling over that loss, it's a loss. It's done. It's in the past. We got to win. For instance, if we win every game going forward in the Prem, I'm not saying that we will, but if it is a possibility, obviously. If we win every game, the title's ours. Simple as that. Yeah. I've been saying this from the very beginning, that because I've been asked on plenty of panels and plenty of chats as well, being asked about, is Chelsea and Arsenal, is this going to be the make or break part of our season? I was like, no, it's not. Our make or break part of the season is how we perform in these games going forward. Obviously, winning all the games will be immense, but that City game is immensely important. If we can put some separation between us and City at Anfield, that will be the determinant on whether we can actually have some comfort in thinking that we can win this league or not. That's my opinion.
Well, this soul boy Fran, he says, I can't see Salah go, and he's obsessed with breaking records and winning trophies, not money. And he, that can be a little argument, not money, because he asked for a big rise, and he's the most highly paid player at Liverpool by a long way, sure. And here's a little controversial one, and it's by Jay, and no Jay, by the way, Eminem. Anyway, he says Virgil should have took command. He let it bounce. He is supposed to be our leader. He could have got himself or Alisson injured. Just get rid. I thought about just get rid of the ball. I thought it just get rid of him.
He's right. He's right about that. There was Alisson apparently though. Alisson did call for the ball though, and that's why Alisson was so far advanced that he called for the ball to say he would take care of it. And it's just unfortunately that, he didn't body him off or Havertz off the ball enough to make room for him to be able to make contact. But, it's just it was a calamity of errors.
Virgil was, he was facing, that would have been a corner if he put it out, whereas Ali was facing the other way, wasn't he? So I thought Alisson was going to clear it myself,
Yeah, but I think all in all, Alisson that day, even on their first goal, he didn't use his hands to save that shot from, I think it was Odegaard. He went straight to, he chested it, went straight to that's just crazy, man.
Last night, was it?
Yeah, I think Alisson and Virgil both had a rough game together,
Well, what do you think of Mickey M's tactically giving away the right midfields will never win us games? That's what we need to be. That's what needs to be fixed.
I agree with that.
Don't think it will happen again.
That's a very good point.
It is a very good point, isn't it? And
I mean, look, the majority of our offense, the majority of our play goes through the right side. It's amazing how many touches normally you see Mo Salah when you look at the statistics. How many touches he gets, for instance. How many diagonals are drawn from Virgil to Mo, or how much actual progression, whether it's through Trent or not, goes through our right side. Very, very little primarily goes to our left side, too much. And again, it goes to having the right components on the right side. We don't have Mo Salah on the right side. We didn't have Dom on the right side. We had a somewhat not up to the levels I would like to see him in fitness. Trent again on the right side in a huge game. I think that people underestimate the fact that Trent taking on that vice captainship is the same boost of confidence that I've seen in Virgil, in my opinion, and a reassurance of knowing that you are now the captain, you are now the vice captain that takes on take on new responsibilities for this club, and that means that you are the face of that club on that pitch. So you've got to show the effort. You've got to show the intensity. You got to show all these different levels because you are the captain or vice captain for Trent. And I think that's important to know.
The captaincy suited Virgil so far, taking over from Hendo. So far it has. Okay, it was a bad game the other night for him and Alisson, but I want to pick up, Frank, on what Hugh said, that Salah's future depends on who comes in as the new manager. I think I think that's right, that comment. Whoever comes in, the new manager, it could depend on that.
I think that it depends on a few other players, by the way. And it'll be interesting to see who the new manager will get rid of, because as K-Mac said there before, he wouldn't play Robertson again. You remember that? He wouldn't play him again. Well, would anyone go along with Q, what Q says here? Virgil, Alisson, not a concern, but Diaz is along with Nunes, who is prone to missing chances, although Nunes does provide excitement up front. What about that?
I think Diaz is a guy who is either good or bad. It's like, he's not consistent. He plays 3 good. He actually got better in the last few weeks, of course. He's getting a few goals and that. But all in all, I feel the Arsenal game, we needed him to step up. And I think with the whole Trent topic and everything, Trent played a beauty of a ball in that game where they nearly scored an own goal. And we do not cross balls like that in any format. We don't do it. Harvey Elliott can't cross a ball. But we never get that ball in like we used to when Robertson, Trent wide, swing it in, you know. We haven't done that in a long time. And I think that's what I'm missing. I'm thinking Robertson coming back. Look, at the end of the day, the guy cost 7 million. He's won everything with us. And if he can do something, because we've got a lot of injuries in our defence, why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can't question. I get people. I know that K-Mac said that he wants Robbo gone, but you can't question Robbo's heart. You can't question Robbo's devotion and commitment to this team. And you can't question his fact of, like, he's a part of that leadership role, that leadership group on this team for a reason. I mean, like, guys, and let's just be honest, Robbo does really exemplify a lot of the heart and essence of what I think Liverpool really, really is today, which is, like, you know, pure grit, pure energy, pure heart. And, you know, to just overlook those characteristics. I get that I'm a stat guy myself, but, you know, to overlook those characteristics, you know, there's no stat that's going to back that up. There's no stat out there that you could put out there, but heart and sheer commitment are important. And I think that Robbo exemplifies that like very few can say.
It'll take him a few weeks to get back up to speed, like, but he'll be back soon enough, Robbo. We need a left footer on the left, like, you know, without him, we've been the team's unbalanced. As good as Joe's done defensively and whatever, like, we've missed having a left footer on the left. We just haven't been as good offensively without a left footer on the left. Because when you've got a right-footed offensive player and a right-footed fullback, it just isn't the same.
Well, what about what Redbird says here? Darwin, I'm going straight to you, JK. Darwin keeps defenders busy, giving our other forward space. Take the game against Arsenal. Yep. Jota missed Darwin. I said that myself. I've actually said that myself. He missed him because of Darwin's absence at the beginning. You know, he should have started him. What do you think, JK?
Yeah, 100%. Because what people don't realise, like, I've seen so many of our fans like dissing Darwin, and I think him not playing Sunday showed the fans what he actually does in a game. He might not touch the ball as often, but what he does, he puts a lot of pressure and energy on the other team. Them centre-backs were having a holiday on Sunday, you know? Darwin wouldn't let that happen. And I think Jota, because Darwin makes a space for him, he's running here, he's running there, Jota finds spaces there, and he clicks. So, yep, 100%.
What do you think, Throbman?
I think that's a great point. I can't emphasize this enough, but that Darwin creates opportunities for Mo Salah. Darwin creates, that's the reason why he has, you know, the reason why he was the first player in the Prem to make 10 plus goals, 10 plus assists in all competitions, you know. I think there's sometimes people overlook these statistics, and again, I'm a statistics guy, but, you know, they measure it with their eye test. And I'm like, if you're utilizing your eye test and you're utilizing statistics or utilizing one or the other, you still have to recognize the fact that Darwin makes it easier for these other players around him to get these opportunities. And one of the biggest things that I always push back when it comes to, oh, well, Darwin's not finishing his dinner, or, you know, all these players aren't finishing or aren't scoring these goals that we want to see them. I can give you that. I can understand that. But I'd be more concerned if we weren't even getting the opportunities. If we weren't getting the chances to do that, that'd be one thing. You know, if the unique thing about Darwin, and it's very similar to what I always say about strikers. If you look at the top strikers in the world, they all are normally going to have, even though they have a lot of goals, they'll also have probably the most misses, the most big chance misses, because they're getting opportunities. Mo Salah doesn't score on just two touches in the box or two chances to score. He'll take 2, 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 chances, and he'll get a goal, 2 or 3, whatever. But it's more so that he's getting the opportunities to even have that chance to score. Darwin creates a plethora of those chances because of his pace, because of the commitment that the defense has to. That's why I call him the ambassador. That the name didn't necessarily stick, but it has for me.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, like early
I've been saying it for months, mate. I've been saying the same thing. If we weren't top of the league and scoring loads of goals, I'd be having a pop at them. But we are top of the league and scoring lots of goals simultaneously.
Right.
So why have a go at the lad? You know what I mean? Yes, he's missing innumerable chances, but he's assisting people and scoring at the same time. Okay, he's missed some glaring opportunities, but he's creating and he's scoring at the same time as he's missing. And anybody who's watching him and saying he's a donkey, they're not watching the game properly.
They're not watching.
He's a young forward. He's still learning the game. Do you know what I mean? He's talented. Anyone can see that. You'd have to be myopic to miss the fact that the lad's got talent.
See, the last few games, Lee, as well, the goalkeepers have been making some world-class saves.
Absolutely.
First class. It's been... remember, a few weeks ago, 12th man, we were discussing this, and I said it, and everybody agreed, that he's getting caught offside a lot of times, and I'm talking about through the season, by the way. And I said he has to learn to keep in line, and the last few games he has been, and that's why he's been keeping in line. That's why he causes chaos. If he gets that ball, he's away. And that goal that Diaz scores, against Chelsea, the fourth, the way he took the ball away, he kept on side, took the ball away, went out to the left, put the ball over, Diaz ran on to score. Now, I'm going straight to you, 12th man, and then you, JK, then you, Lee. I think we're too harsh on Diaz. I remember Badge and Ted's Chris Angel say Diaz may not come back the same because of his type of injury, plus his dad. Give him a chance. Now, do you think that they are being too harsh? Now, let me just finish by saying this. Against Arsenal, he fought for that ball. All right, it was an own goal in the end. Could have been a penalty, and that fella would have been sent off, by the way. But, would VAR have given a penalty, would the referee given a penalty and have sent off? But the point is, he fought for that ball. He fought for it. And there was only him, and surrounded by these Arsenal players, and he poked it through, didn't he? And then it led to the goal. And that's what I mean about Diaz. He does try. He does try.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether you agree, absolutely. Now let me go to there. Then I'll right over to you, 12th man. Where is it? Right, Paul Smith says, see, this is what I mean about this pod. I think it's great because, the great comments, by the way. Diaz is too inconsistent and doesn't take on his man often enough. So over to you, 12th man, with those two comments by today. And,
definitely no layups. Definitely no layups here, but okay. I would say, I'm a big supporter of Lucho. Love the fact that we've, ventured into the South American market to get these players. So often a lot of South American players don't necessarily choose to come to Liverpool per se, but I think that's certainly changed ever since we took on like Bobby and have like more of these influences that are going to attract those kinds of players. But as far as Diaz, and it can even be related to actually Nunez as well. Nunez's attempts, the reason why I'm so high on the fact of at least he's making the progressive runs forward and making these attempts, even though he's not scoring, that at least puts it into that defender's mind that I've got to be on my best foot to be able to take care of this. And that's going to open up channels. That's going to open up space for your Salah, for your Diaz, possibly even for our midfield, which has scored a lot more goals this year than our midfield has ever really scored in the last 5 years at least. Okay, so with that said, if teams now know that they have a threat of being scored from our midfield, they have the threat of Nunez. He's not going to miss all of them. So, like the fact that Nunez can and should score on one at least of those attempts that he's getting, the multiple attempts that he's getting, and then by doing so, you're going to create opportunities for your wing players. I think that's a beautiful little recipe for success. When it comes to Diaz and answering the question about Diaz, and this isn't stat related at all, Paul. If you look at Diaz, Frank's comment is so spot on. Diaz has immense heart and pride in being a Liverpool player. You can see it, you can tell it, you can understand it. I like the fact that he's created a relationship with Nunez. They're very tight. You can see it in the little PR segments that they do together and everything else. The fact that they can speak Spanish to each other definitely probably ingratiates themselves to each other, because when you're able to communicate with someone, it allows for you at least to be able to say your feelings, get what it is, and feel like a connection. So,
did you see the celebration when he assisted Diaz? And
yes.
Yes,
exactly. They know it's the reason why, for instance, people were pushing back. I get it that he missed the penalty kick for us, and it's something that I've been pushing. I've been actually a vocal person out there saying that I would like to see Nunez take our penalty kicks. But the reason why I think that McAllister didn't take the penalty kick is because of his relationship with Nunez, his understanding of how important it is for this player to get goals, how important it is for this player to get the fervor of a lot of these fans that are somewhat more reactionary off his back.
I think Klopp likes playing Diaz and Nunez because they stretch teams further back.
That's a great point.
Both got pace, Salah has too, but Diaz and Nunez stretch teams, and he's unpredictable. I've liked seeing Diaz on the right because, and he's been through the middle as well with Mo gone.
Yeah.
And it was the injury that he got at Arsenal last season really upset Diaz's progression, because before that he was in really good form and he was scoring some nice goals, wasn't he? And was in good form. And then after he come back from that, it took him a while, didn't it, to get back to where he was. At the beginning of the season, it was all going well, and then there was the episode with his dad, wasn't there? Mm-hmm. So we're starting to see him again now. I do remember Klopp saying that Diaz has a really high ceiling, and I agree with him. Diaz has got a high ceiling, and I think we can see more from Diaz still. Definitely.
Well, M&M says Nunez is superb. He's learning a trade. His bricklayer might be a little bit wonky at the moment, but he will grow to be the king of the fortress. He's a kid, don't forget. I agree with that. I agree with what you say there. And Paul Smith, Steve Evans has just come in, he said. He's Steve Evans, even I just got been to another gig, I suppose. But anyway, Paul Smith, I would replace Diaz with Elise, Shaky, or Neto. Any of them I don't think we'll get, to be honest. I really don't.
Neto, it's just, we said before, didn't we? He's injury prone.
Same as Elise as well. He's got another injury now. Yep.
Yeah, I think he's injury prone, isn't he, sometimes?
It's the modern day football.
Prone, but
it is.
Modern day football, everyone's getting injured all the time. It's like back in the days, players maybe get injured, one or two in the squad. It's like you're getting 10, 8, 9, 10 players in a squad getting injured. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Is that what's going on? What are they doing?
Well, what about what Paul Smith says here? Stats are used. Look at him, 12 man, little thing, Stats are used too often to cover up the lack of quality of a player. Stats are destroying our beautiful game. 12th man. I
will definitely address that one since I know that's aimed at me. So look, I definitely believe that stats are important to this game because the analytics and everything else, that's a lot of why and how we've gotten some of these players that we are beloved players. The reason why we have them on our team is because of stats and the breaking down of those analytics. You know, I mean, there's the good number of the players that we brought in under this administration and under Klopp especially have been because of those analytics, because of those stats, you know. And you know, if it's a simple process. Also, we can all have our own. We all have our own set of eyes. I get that. We all have our own when it comes to the eye test. We can all have our opinion of how that touched us in or you know in our opinions. However, we can't all have our own stats. The stats are just the stats. So when it comes to a lot of the pushback with statistics, I get it. I'm not trying to say that you should just look at statistics and that's all. I think you have to have a measured approach with utilizing both. And I think that sometimes anyone that's a stat guy that says, oh, eye tests don't matter is kidding themselves. Anyone that's an eye test guy and doesn't think stats matter is kidding themselves. The person that utilizes both is going to have a more constructive approach towards being able to say something and then having a bridge, something that we can both agree on are viable facts. You can have your own opinions from your eye test, but I can tell you this player scored X amount of goals. That's a stat, you know, it's just that simple. And then I'll utilize that as being a presence to say factually what we can talk about and how we can discuss things. Oh, and one last part and point is a common way of backing up what I just said is just that we talked about Diaz and about like and he doesn't take on enough players and this and that and yada yada. Well, Diaz is normally on general getting half the touches that a Mo Salah is getting. If you reverse that, then maybe he has the ability or maybe he has the opportunity to take on those players more so. But if you told me, okay, you're going to get hypothetically 40 touches and Mo Salah is going to get 90 touches or 70 touches or something like that, then obviously you have to pick and choose when you're going to take on these players or not, as opposed to, oh, well, I'm going to constantly be getting fed the ball so I can mix and match when I'm going to take on these players, as opposed to Salah, who's always getting the ball catered toward him, and he's able to do those things. It's simple things like that, that if I were to tell you that, you might not agree with me, but I can bring up the statistics and factually back up what I have to say from my eye test. That's what
I'm hoping now is that Diaz doesn't have any injury this season, and he can continue until May and just play until May whenever he's selected. No injuries, and he can just continue with his form because he was interrupted by injury and by his dad's kidnapping, wasn't he? And
it's big.
I think, yeah, and I think that the injury does affect him. Obviously,
He did it twice, not once. He had two.
It wasn't even a
tackles.
tackle.
Yeah, because he went to Dubai, didn't he? To do some pre-training, as you know, and all of a sudden he broke down. He broke down. So that was another injury he had.
I think it was Thomas Partey, wasn't it? Grabbed hold of him.
Yeah, he did a wrestling WWE move on him. You know, thought he was the Undertaker or something.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was one of those weird ones, but it ended up being a bad injury. So,
well, as Paul Smith says, the eye will always win over the stats all day long.
I agree. I agree with him.
Won't let it go.
It's like a car, when you look at a car, it's like, first thing is, what does it look like? And that gets your attention. After you'll go find out how quick it gets from 0 to 60 in how many seconds and all that nonsense, But the main thing is when you look at that, you think, you know what? That would look good in my drive. And that's what it's all about. If you know about your cars, some people just waste money on, think that looks all right, but it's not.
Well, it's not only about
Chelsea, a bit like Chelsea, yeah.
I know it's a good analogy there, JK. But when I mentioned about young Bradley, and K-Mac said, but he's only had 5 games. But I had to say, I had to try and prove a point with him. you know, he has only had 5 games. But the point is, when I seen Phil Thompson, when I seen Alan Hansen making the Stephen Gerrard, when I seen him making his debut, I went, whoa! And they're just 3 players. There's just 3 players. And I said, these are going to be great for Liverpool.
Exactly.
You know, it's as simple as that. And that's why I said that. And you don't play 5 games and be outstanding. You don't do that. You
Klopp
don't
won't play you if he don't trust you, and he don't think you're good enough. If you're not good enough, you're not getting a game. Kwanzaa, look at him, quality.
Yes, Kwanzaa, another lads as well. You know, absolutely brilliant. These young kids of ours. I don't know too much about Bobby Clark. I'm being honest. I just don't know much because I haven't got LFC TV because I don't watch the games. I just watch little snippets on YouTube. But you know, well, anyway, Tyler Morton's
his dad was good.
Tyler Morton's the same. It's just one of those things that you know, it's like what Eminem says. Jay, why don't you just put Jay up instead of Eminem? God blimey. Anyway, he says, where are the heat maps on injuries, not minutes played? Because they are, you know, when you see all these heat maps and, you know, where they are and what they're doing and whatever, you know, that's where. And as he says, where are the heat maps on injuries? We never get told about injuries, do we? Really? We never get told. It's like in press conferences, always out for 4 or 5 weeks or whatever. Go ahead.
We've learned that with the
injuries, you don't really know, do you? That when they happen, you don't know the severity of them. But
it seems to happen in training, though, Lee. It's always training because they're all like going off the pitch. They're not limping or anything. It's always that in the training. And as someone mentioned before, I don't know whether you've seen it, who, you know, I don't know, pulling these hamstrings. I think was it K-Mac who gave the stats about all these hamstring injuries, and someone mentioned about Slobozlai. I think a lad named Annie.
He mentioned the number, and it was so big, it was staggering. The number that we'd had, it was like 462 or something, something ludicrous like that.
But I believe that in the old days, the bit of weight these players used to have on them compared to the guys now, they got 0% body fat. So when your muscle is running full pelt, like Slobozlai, for example, the guy's he's really thin guy. He's going to pull up quicker than a guy who's got a bit more weight and a bit more fat around his legs, for example, that can protect that muscle for the hamstring to get pulled. I always believe that I think these modern day footballers are too fit, you know, and I think any slight hindrance in that by the body and anything, it gets them out for weeks. And I think it's down to how much they train, maybe a lot of things, what they eat, maybe as well. So there's a lot of things that are happening to our players, especially. And I think the medical team at the end of the season needs to go when Klopp goes 100%.
I think there might be something in that, JK, what you're saying there. They're actually too toned in the leg department, like a something, and the slightest little tweak does them in, like a something. Because we do get too many muscle injuries, it seems like.
I think that giving me age away here. He says Frank knows a player when he says, well, he saw the great Tommy Smith debut, and I did. It's unbelievable. And Ian McHale, there are some good young lads coming through the academy, Frank. Jaden Dans, Lewis. Yeah, I've seen that Lewis Kumas, by the way. I think he is a very good player. Cone Doherty, to name just 3 of them. We beat Fulham 3-0 in the FA Cup to get through to a quarter final. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. And let's just go through these. And this is a bit controversial. Darryl, he said before, he said, my Wi-Fi's gone. Then he came on before I put him up.
Yeah.
And he went again. His
Oh.
Wi-Fi. It must be bad. He must be using next doors. Anyway, he said, I wouldn't be upset if Trent went. No player is bigger than the club. Absolutely. No manager is bigger than the club. No one's bigger than the club.
Yeah, but I feel that, see, Trent, he needs to seriously think of who he is. Like, he's been pretty good this season, let's get no doubt. I think that injury came at a bad time for him. He was flowing, you know. So I just feel that he needs to find out where is his position and where does he want to play. Because for me, he was playing right back the other day. He was not really good, was he? He put one good cross in the whole game. That's all he did. And I think I was really disappointed with him. Maybe he came back too quick from injury and stuff. But this Trent topic needs to get sorted soon as. I think it's not a good way to go forward with anyway.
Well, anyway, lads, I've got to finish. Anyway, 12th man, thank you. It's been great.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yes,
you know your stuff, to be honest. You know, coming from where about in the States are you? Don't say Ohio, please. You know, so where are you? Whereabouts in the States are you?
So I'm originally from the East Coast, but I live out west now. I live in California and Arizona. So so nowadays I call this part of America home. And you know, football, soccer, however you want to pronounce it. So I know I get kickback if I use the word soccer, even though the Brits made that word up. It wasn't Americans that made that word up. The Brits made the word up. But all the same.
It was here. Yeah. It was here. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's great.
It wasn't until like the 80s, I think, that you guys like stopped using soccer as being like the name that you would use that would be different. But yes, I used to. So I've always played football, whether I was a youth player on into like my school days, and then even into college. And then also I've worked with I've actually worked with U.S. Soccer here in America, U.S. Soccer men's national team. I've been an agent, so I've had players that I've had to find teams or try to get placement of teams professionally. And then also I worked for FIFA as well for a little while as well. So that was a fun period of my life as well. I know FIFA isn't exactly
have a love for the game, like
But as
so there's been a bunch. Been a bunch I've gotten involved myself. Gotten myself involved in. But right now, you know what? I appreciate the fact that this game is such a global game that we're able to, really reach out and be connected to people. Obviously in Liverpool, but also. So, whether it's Indonesia, Malaysia, Brazil, Ireland, Japan, America, obviously, Colombia, Uruguay, all these different places all over the world are now connected in one way or another through the great heritage that's known as the Reds. And I appreciate the opportunity to always mix and mingle.
Listen, 12th man, listen, mates, we embrace all our overseas support. We really do. Our fan base from all over the world, and even around the country as well. So you just don't have to be a Scouser to support this great club of ours. We embrace everybody, and we're all brothers and sisters. And there's the lovely Jean Gray. And she says, "Gents, thank you so much. The most relaxing LFC stream since Sunday. I needed that. Thank you, Frank Carlyle, panel and chat. Big kisses for Frank, not for you, by the way, boys, only for Frank. 100%. A big heart as well for Frank. And you'll never walk alone. I'm sorry, I can't share the kisses. I can't share their kisses. I'm sorry. But if any fellas give out kisses, you can have them, boys. Okay. Love you, honest to God. It's been great. It's thank you so. It really has been. So you will come on a game, won't you?
Oh, for sure, for sure. As long as the invitation is out there, I'm definitely more than willing to take the opportunity to, again, like I said, mix it up with my Reds brethren. I'm very, very loyal towards my Reds and the brotherhood and sisterhood that we have, amongst each other. So it's important. I think that's one of the most key parts and points about, being a Red to me is the actual brethren that we make and create, and the community that we keep. And it's important that we continue to, not only foster it, but create something for those that are the youngsters, the young ones, even that are going to have to take on that mantle eventually as well, and those ahead of us. So it's important that we do see that happen. And I think that the communication and creating lines of communication between us is the way to do it. So I'm always
any communication and spreads down. I've got a little granddaughter who's a little Red now, and she's absolutely delighted.
That's a delight.
And it's through my family. I've got two grandsons as well. They're big Reds, including my daughter. She's a big Red, and their kids, So it's just great because the communication and everything else around the globe. I've had people on from America loads of times, Canada, by the way, Australia, New Zealand, all over the country, and this is why we don't, we just don't exclude, I'm sorry.
580 million. 580 million Reds fans in the world today.
Yeah.
How about that? Give or take.
Okay.
It's a lot. Yeah. Half a billion fans followed it. Half a billion people in this world are consider themselves to be Reds supporters. So I mean, that's an incredible number, and it's something that you should be proud of. Whether you live in Liverpool or whether you live in America like myself, or you live in Germany or wherever you call home, you should understand that there's always going to be someone there that's going to take that walk with you. You'll never walk alone. Certainly rings clear when you say those kinds of things.
This guy for president, I'm telling you.
It's very good. Mickey M says, take care, everyone. You never walk alone. And Ian McHale, a rare 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday, boys. Look forward to being back on the Cop again. Up the Reds. And our lovely Jean Gray. The first time I went to Liverpool, the one thing I will always love is the fact I'm an Evertonian pub in my red shirt. It was nothing but love. I loved that sound and club. Isn't that lovely?
That is lovely.
I would go in with a red shop on and a blue pub.
Yeah.
I'd be lynched. Oh, bloody, you imagine that? Anyway, lots of Reds here in Stockholm, Sweden. Mickey,
got a ticket from an Everton match there. I found you in my kitchen.
Wow, that's great.
Against Lee?
Now look at Mickey M. I didn't even know that he was from Sweden. I didn't know he was from Sweden. So, it's been a great international night tonight with the likes of the 12th man and the likes of JK, because he's abroad too, and this Mickey M. So it's been great, lads. It really has. I'll be back on Thursday, as usual. I want to say to JK and Lee, I've got a film and TV review, okay? And that's on Friday.
Okay.
If that's okay with you. But we'll have it at 10:30 in the morning. I don't know whether to have it on Saturday morning or Friday morning, so I'll let you know. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay.
So I'll let you know on Thursday anyway, because we have another pod on Thursday. Is that okay? And I don't know whether to have a pod. This is what I'm toying with, whether to have a film and TV review or a pod post-match. But I doubt if I do the post-match because I might be out, if you know what I mean. So anyway, 12th man, thank you once again. I really, really appreciate it. JK, as usual. And Lee, I'll be in touch. Lee, you're the worst person to get hold of, mate. I'm sorry, you're awful.
I'll phone you and I'll give you my number again so you've got the right number because I think I must have given you the wrong number.
You gave me the wrong bloody number. And I'm phoning, you know. And some girl, I think it was from a babe station or something like that, said, how are you? Would you like to see my photos? So I said, I don't know who you are. Is Lee there, please? She went, who's Lee? No, I'm only joking, Lee, but send me your phone number, proper one this time, okay?
Okay.
And let's see, before Mickey you know, our Swedish friend, I was brought up watching Liverpool in the 80s, a great decade to be a Red. Absolutely agree with you. Absolutely. Now listen, Mickey, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and like, and you know, it'll be great for the algorithm. And as he says, he grew up with Glenn Hussein. He never grew up with him, but Stockholm, Sweden, so Glenn Hussein land. Glenn Hussein was the handsomest Liverpool player ever. Him and Jan Molby, but that's another thing. Thank you so much, and as again, Lee, JK, 12th man, you're a good man. Thank you.
Great having you on, 12th man. It was good having your knowledge.
Great pleasure.
Thank you, boys. Thank you. Thank you all the chat as well. I love yous, and see you all on Thursday. Thank you so much. And to K-Mac, by the way, and Darryl Merry.
And Darryl.
You put some money in your electricity, will you, or just get yourself a new stream. See you.